Yo, what's good? We're back right here live on Philadelphia 76ers. Now, week 2 of NBA free agency, certainly not as active as last week when Daryl Morey was a mover and a shaker. He was a dealman across the entire NBA, but there's still a lot to get to here on the show. I'm Chase Sr. So glad you're hanging out here with us. You'll hear and see producer Chip coming up here in just a bit. And the 76ers now rundown, it's loaded because we are the content daddies. The real ones know. Coming up, Philadelphia 76ers Summer League winners and losers after the first set of Summer League games going into the Las Vegas Summer League. So we'll recircle that segment once again, and we'll do that following Las Vegas. Can Philadelphia compete with Boston and New York? I thought what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the Sixers stacking up with his Knicks, very, very interesting. And then we'll round out our live show with doing a mailbag. Let's hear from all of the legends, all of the real ones, as Clive Johnson pointed out. Get those questions in right now. If you have a hot take, you have some analysis, you have some thoughts on the Sixers, all you have to do, hashtag 76ers or send in a super chat. Let's begin with this. I want to know, have you watched Summer League yet? Y for yes, N for no. Some good moments from Jared McCain. Some good moments from Adem Bona. Ricky Council balling out. Jeff Doughton playing very well too. So Y for yes, N for no. Have you watched the Summer League? I have, because there's something about Summer League hoops that's really fun, Chip. Have an opportunity to check out these young players for the first time, see how they fit, what their potential is. Chris Ackerman typing Y. I know you and we've been tapped in for sure.
Yeah, and it's definitely not quite like watching regular NBA basketball. Obviously, it's a lot of these guys that are fighting for roster spots, young players, so it can get a little sloppy at times, and we've certainly seen that with the Sixers, but look, all three of their games have been pretty exciting, especially the Memphis game came down to the wire.
OKC, good win. Council going off.
They blew a big lead against the Jazz. They came and stormed back late at the end of the game last night. So a lot going on, a lot of fun young players to watch, even on the opposing teams, you know?
Yep.
It's fun to see, like, you know, these young, like Keontae George, for example, on the Utah Jazz. An exciting young player. Like, we saw Walker Kessler even playing for the Jazz. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Zach Edey against the Grizzlies, which was a little unfortunate, but it's always great. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll definitely recommend watching when the Sixers kick off Vegas Summer League. Now, one note, Jeff Doughton won't be playing in Vegas. Don't know why, but it's going to be the same team minus Jeff Doughton.
That's kind of unfortunate. I wanted to see him play. And if you haven't tuned in to the Utah Summer League, it's totally understandable. Las Vegas Summer League is a lot of fun, though. That's when we get to see a lot of these marquee players. So, Philly, Kirk, Milton Stewart, Giordano Molina, Carter Bone, Harold Green, Clive Johnson, Winston Reed, all saying, yeah, been tuned in. The old Valerians, I know I butchered that, but yes, I'm glad that you've watched the Summer League. As for the Las Vegas Summer League schedule, competition will be better here. More marquee players will be playing. Sixers getting it underway on Saturday. That's the first game against the Detroit Pistons. And then 2 days later, Portland Trail Blazers on the 15th. Minnesota Timberwolves on the back end of a back-to-back. That is the 16th. And then the San Antonio Spurs on the 19th. Of course, if Philadelphia wins a lot of those games, they can make a little bit of a run, and there will be even more games as part of the Las Vegas Summer League tournament, as the end of that becomes pretty competitive with teams trying to win a Las Vegas Summer League championship. The first few games, it's when a lot of fans go out there because that's when some of the notable first-round picks start to play, and then toward the tail end, the hype dies down a little bit. But either way, we're talking ball, watching ball. If you want to help us out, donate to the show. Here's our Super Chat menu for our live show here today. Any Super Chat will get a shout-out. $5 beer cheers, $10, 10 push-ups, $20, a chip shot, 50 beer bong or a shotgun. And then another reminder for our mailbag segment, use the hashtag 76ers or send in a Super Chat. You do that, we'll get you featured here on the show as part of our mailbag. We do have 3 segments to get to, so that will be segment number 3. We're just allowing people to get that notification, pile into the show, and then we'll get it popping. If you're ready to start the show, nearly 140 people watching live, 31 likes. I want everybody tuned in and tapped in to hit that thumbs up icon like the video. The more likes that we get, more people who find the stream, the more fun that we will have, and we can get litty right here on 76ers Now. We're about a week and a half removed from being live for 10 hours awaiting the Paul George signing. And then we went live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week. Had a blast. Audience was awesome. So let's run it back. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. We're already up to 140 people watching live. Let's continue to increase those numbers. We're going to start off with segment number 1. Philadelphia 76ers Summer League winners and losers, part 1. The Summer League winners and losers coming from the Salt Lake City Summer League before the Sixers shift gears for the Las Vegas Summer League. So that'll be segment number 1. We're about to get underway right now. 100 G's using hashtag 76ers. Good job by you. Peter Thurmond, a $5 super chat. He's always watching the show from work. How awesome is that? $5 super chat from Peter. I'm going to give you a cheers right now.
Real one.
Out of the Yeti. My man, appreciate that.
Real one.
Continue to use hashtag 76ers. Ryan Cooper getting a question in. Use hashtag 76ers, my dog. Chris Ackerman, too bad Crumble won't play on the 13th. That's pretty funny. But Tobias Harris did take the high road, and he did say, thank you, Philadelphia, for everything. You will always be a part of me. You meant a lot to my NBA career. Carter Bones saying, this stream is about to be fire. I completely agree. This stream is about to be fire. So, Chip, let's get it queued up. Segment number 1, Utah Jazz, Salt Lake City, Summer League winners and losers. We will revisit this segment following the more intense Summer League action for Las Vegas. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Philly 007, we don't need Lauri Markkanen, though. They don't also have the money to do that. Carter Bones saying, let's go. We don't have a real power forward from Ryan Cooper. Use the hashtag 76ers. We'll explore that coming up in our mailbag because it is a valid question. All right, Philadelphia 76ers Now is live. I'm Chase Sr., producer Chip. All Sixers fans tuned in from worldwide. Let's get the official show started right now. Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Coming up, Summer League winners and losers. The Philadelphia 76ers wrapping up their third and final game during the Salt Lake Summer League. We will revisit this following the Las Vegas Summer League. That's kind of the more notable Summer League session. But the Sixers going 1-2, losing in close fashion to both Memphis and Utah. They did beat the Oklahoma City Thunder when Ricky Council went off in that fourth quarter. And the Sixers, they have some really intriguing young players on this team, so we're going to take a look and dissect who exceeded expectations and who hurt their chances of making an NBA roster. I do want to pop up today's poll question, though, because I just want to gauge where the audience is at. Have you watched the Summer League yet? A lot of people might not realize that the Salt Lake City Summer League was going down over the last couple of nights. Y for yes, N for no. Let us know right now. The clear and obvious leader of our Summer League winners portion of today's show is Ricky Council IV. Clearly, Philadelphia really likes his prospects of being a rotation player in this league. That's why Daryl Morey advocated and then signed him to that contract extension, which makes him a very affordable player coming in off the bench, especially if he can contribute. And he balled out during the Summer League. He looked like an NBA player going up against some non-NBA players, and that's exactly what you want to see. Against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he scored 17 straight points in that fourth quarter at one point, 29 points for the game, 8 rebounds on top of that. He was 9 of 18 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3, and 6 of 7 from the free throw line. If he could develop that three-point shot, he can really be a cost-controlled asset and weapon. And then the next night, 7 points, 4 rebounds. The shooting not as good. 2 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, but 2 of 2 from the line. But then he rebounds from that and plays really well. 20 points, an assist, 6 of 11 from the field, 50% from long range, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, and then 6 of 7 from the free throw line. The fact that he shot well from the free throw line and from 3 is certainly a good sign because you know he's a really good athlete. He adds the shooting to that. He can be a bench player in this league. The positives from him, an improved outside shot. He showed off the athleticism. We know that he has bunnies, had a little bit of an off-the-dribble game, and then some really fancy finishes inside. And I do believe that as you look ahead, Ricky Council has an opportunity to be a rotation player for the 76ers, and this is why. Coming out of the Salt Lake City Summer League, I thought Ricky Council was the biggest winner for the Philadelphia 76ers. In each of the 3 games, I thought he played really well. He displayed an improved outside shot. Given the athleticism, he can also defend at a really high level. He looked comfortable at the free throw line, and the shot is something that he needed to improve from his rookie campaign. And you saw why Philadelphia gave him that contract extension and giving him that NBA deal. And if he can be a rotation player for Philadelphia, a team that doesn't have a lot of money because they're giving and paying max contracts to Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, that will do wonders for Philadelphia because I think that he can be a weapon, and if he can be a cost-controlled asset and weapon, it gives the Sixers more depth. Winner number 2 from the Salt Lake City Summer League is Jared McCain. I know, for the real ones who watched, he did miss some shots. He did struggle a little bit from the field. He also did some really nice things. Averaged 10 points per game throughout the Summer League, 4 rebounds, 2+ dimes. I do think that he can continue to be a better passer at the NBA level. He did only shoot 29.4% from the field and less than 19% from 3. To me, he looked a little bit rusty, but some of the strengths were the strengths that I saw at Duke. And keep in mind that at Duke, he started the season slow, and then he finished it strong. And I think once he gets acclimated, once he gets his feet wet, once he gets a little bit more comfortable, I think you're going to start to see some of the potential there. The numbers don't look great, but he looked good on the court. At times, he operated and played very much like a veteran. The alley-oop to Adem Bona in that first Summer League game was filthy with that left hand. He was able to finish around the rim. The quick release from 3 looks to be a confident player. And if you disagree that he shouldn't be a winner, this is why we think he's a winner, right? He looked comfortable. He was in control, both on ball, off ball. That's what you want to see. If he's to see the floor of Philadelphia this year, he's going to have to play both roles. Off ball with Tyrese Maxey, on ball in the non-Maxey minutes. He showed great hustle and energy and a good feel, a good temperature, and a great awareness for the game. Summer League winner number 3. The second-round pick following the first-round pick in Jared McCain, and that's Adem Bona. I think the Sixers could have a steal here. He really could be a freak athlete at the next level, and as he becomes more seasoned and he develops a little bit, I can't wait to see what he can do in the front court. Switchable defender, good lob threat. When he's moving with momentum to the 10, he is dangerous. I'll look at his numbers in the 3 Summer League games in Utah. Night 1, he played 24 minutes, 7 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 2 blocks. Game 2, that defensive potential was on display. 5 blocks, in addition to 6 points, 4 rebounds. He was 0 of 2 from the field, but 6 of 6 from the free throw line. You want a big who's comfortable from the stripe, therefore he's not a liability late in games. And then in the Utah Summer League finale, 21 minutes, 4.6 boards, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 blocks and 3 steals. So he contributed so much on the defensive end, and that is the starting block of what he can be and how he can see the floor early in his career. If he's a little bit raw offensively, that's fine. But if he can impact games athletically, defensively, he could get some minutes. I thought he showed off that defensive potential with just highlight real worthy blocks. And then getting in the way of passing lanes, he's very strong. And the fact that he was comfortable at the free throw line, that's a good sign moving forward. He does need to have more discipline On defense, sometimes he can overcommit. Sometimes he can get a little bit handsy. The body can get out of control. 13 fouls in 3 games. That was a problem at UCLA, but keep in mind, he didn't start playing basketball until he was a teenager. And then lastly, Jeff Doughton. He is not going to play in the Las Vegas Summer League for whatever reason. The Sixers declined his option, so technically he's a free agent. He can sign with another team. But you saw why he got some NBA minutes this past year and how he has some experience under his belt. Against subpar competition, he fared well. That's good for Jeff Doughton if he's trying to crack an NBA roster. 17 points per game in those 3 games played in Utah, 5 assists. So you saw some of the passing ability. He's long and lengthy, 59% from the field and 50% from 3. He looked like the best player on the floor at times, and that included going up against some other more well-known NBA draft prospects from this rookie class. He created shots off the dribble. He had some pull-up threes, nice little floater game, and he also created for others. May have earned himself a roster spot. Maybe with the Sixers, if not with another team. Maybe he'll be a preseason invite to see if he can make the squad. So with that, most impressive player at Summer League there, Chip. Who comes to mind?
Yeah, I think no doubt it's Ricky Council. Just seeing him out there, he looks so confident. He looks like a player who was playing with other players that were not quite to his level. He looked like the guy. Yeah. Both him and Doughton, I think, looked the most confident out of all the players for the 76ers. I mean, Ricky Council, there was a stretch in that last game where he took 2 deep threes in a row, nailed them both, had that crazy dunk where he bounced it off the ground and grabbed it and slammed it in like it's the dunk contest. Yep. So he was really feeling himself and looked very, very good and more comfortable on the offensive side of the ball. And then Doughton, just a very reliable scorer. He kind of seems like he knows the spots he wants to get to. He loved that little off-the-screen sidestep pull-up 3. He loved the little floater in the mid-range. And then seeing the 2 rookies show flashes is also great as well. Obviously, McCain, want to see the offense get going, but his first few games in Summer League, I'm not worried about that at all. It was really encouraging for me, honestly, to see him play his own pace. And they were talking about this in the broadcast as well. Like, he just looked like a vet. Yeah. I mean, so in control, had that, change of direction, that stop, start, kind of lull the defense to sleep, get him on his back and get that shot up in the mid-range floater area. He wasn't always able to hit it, but he was able to get to his spots. And then Bona, of course, tremendous defender. So all 4 of these guys, including some other players for the Sixers, showed some good things. And I'm excited to keep watching most of these guys when they start Vegas Summer League here on Saturday.
Las Vegas Summer League, as Chip said, getting underway on Saturday. A couple of those games, really looking forward to seeing the continued growth and development of some of our winners, and we'll see if some of the losers who are about to get to can make some strides and make some improvements. Let's shift gears to this question here. Who were you most impressed with during the Utah Summer League? Drop us a name or names down below in the comment section right now, and we'll get to our Summer League losers. I was high on Justin Edwards as a UDFA. First 5-star player to not get drafted going back to like the late 90s or the early 2000s. And at Kentucky, had a good left-handed stroke, obviously coming out of high school, highly touted recruit. Shooting efficiency wasn't there, looked a little bit slow. I thought the handle was also loose. We'll see what he can do in the Las Vegas Summer League. He's going to have to prove himself because he had a couple of clunkers here. First game against OKC, 18 minutes, no points, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. So not a lot of opportunities there, but I was surprised he did shoot the basketball a little bit more. And then the following night, 25 minutes, 14 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3. That was his best game. And then in the finale, 21 minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 of 9 from the field, and 0 of 3 from 3. Why he's a loser? Offensive game is just clearly raw and has a loose handle. I thought it was funny how the Sixers tweeted out a highlight of him going to the cup with a good finish if you look at the result. But the process leading to the result, he was out of control. I mean, the handle was all over the place, and his body was out of control, and then he just kind of threw it up, and he got it to fall. But that handle was loose, no doubt. Bad jumper, not really a great feel for the game. That being said, Game 2, you saw some of the flashes. You especially saw some of the flashes with the potential that he has as a solid defender because he does have some decent size to him. Loser number 2, Judah Mintz. Not a lot of people very familiar with Judah Mintz, but the Sixers have one two-way spot left. Mintz is fighting for one of those spots, and he did not show off scoring or the playmaking that he's supposed to have. Across 3 games, just 8 field goal attempts. He was only able to take 1 3-point shot, didn't hit it, had 14 points and 2 assists in 44 total minutes. So when you perform like that, just not going to have an opportunity to make the squad. And then lastly, how far Romeo Langford has fallen. He's one of our losers here for this segment. He's still only 24 years old. And for Romeo Langford, he was the 14th pick by the Boston Celtics in the 2019 NBA draft. It doesn't look as though we're going to see a failed Celtic become a good Sixer. He didn't get any minutes as a more veteran player trying to find a spot in the NBA. And the fact that he was the final pick in the lottery and now he can't sniff Utah Summer League minutes, that is not good for his NBA future. Who's your biggest loser of 76ers Summer League so far? It's got to be Romeo Langford for me just because of the draft pedigree and where he was taken. Sound off with what you think down below. That Las Vegas Summer League schedule will pop it up once again against the Pistons on Saturday, Trailblazers on Monday, Timberwolves on Tuesday, and then the San Antonio Spurs middle portion of next week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We do it all here on 76ers Now. Live shows, watch parties, news, rumors, analysis, segments, takeaways like this. We know ball, so if you want to know ball with us, be a real one and hit that sub button. All right, Peter Thurman got us started with the $5 super chat, which we showed you already. If anybody wants to join PT, you could send in a super chat. Any super chat gets a shout out. 5 for a beer cheers, $10, 10 push-ups, 20 chip shot, 50 for a beer bong or a shotgun. About to move forward to segment number 2. Stephen A. Smith saying some interesting things about the Sixers. He thinks that Philly is better than the Knicks. And then Skip Bayless kind of taking the other approach. He does not like Paul George signing with Philadelphia. Buddy Bear, nobody from Utah impresses me. I used to live there. Buddy Bear, that is hilarious and a great Buddy Bear comment. Segment number 3 will be a mailbag, so get those questions in right now. It is never too early. You just don't want to be too late. Hashtag 76ers or send in a super chat. Go Birds 21 said the Sixers have to get rid of Tobias Harris to kick the Celtics' ass. Good news, Go Birds 21. I know you've been traveling. As I saw that comment, Tobias Harris is on the Detroit Pistons.
He gone, baby. He gone.
He gone.
He gone.
Crumble cookie gone. Crumble cookie gone.
And shout out to KZ1994 Abel, bringing up Keve Aluma, who had some good minutes for the Sixers. Very impressed. Kind of has a wide variety of skill set. I saw him step out, shoot the 3.
Yeah, good name drop.
So he was probably the next winner. I doubt he makes the roster. He won't make the roster. Maybe he grabs that last two-way spot. Again, that's pretty much what these Summer League guys are fighting for. Sixers' last two-way spot, but also, all these guys are trying to get a shot on other NBA teams.
Right.
So.
Go Birds, are you guys serious? We are dead serious.
Dead
Tobias
serious.
Harris signed with the Pistons. Yes,
Dead
we are
serious.
serious. Looking down at the comment section right now, yes, we are dead serious. That Toby no longer with Philadelphia. And it was a foregone conclusion once the season ended. Didn't know Kiev, how do you say his name? Keve had 2 syllables in his name. You learn something new every day. Ryan Rowe, he always watches our Philadelphia sports content. Eagles now, Sixers now. Ricky Council and Adem Bona finished the rim of floor spacing, defensively scoring, moved the ball well. What's the pronunciation there? 30 likes away from 100. We have 220 people watching live. 30 more likes. Let's get it. Aluma? Whatever. All right, segment number 2. Let's run it up. Almost 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Where are you watching from? I'm very curious as we come to you from Studio H in the Chat Sports Studios. Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you as always for making today's show a part of your day. So many very talented content creators out there talking Sixers. And anytime you hang out with us, we certainly appreciate that because there's a lot of competition out there. Coming up here on the show, how the Sixers stack up with the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. We're talking about how Philadelphia fares against the New York Knicks and the defending champion Boston Celtics. And yes, saying that does make me sick. Here inside the walls of Chat Sports, we can take a look at how 76ers Now stacks up with Boston Celtics today and New York Knicks now. Most likes on a single video this month. New York Knicks Now, 1,066. Celtics today, 929. 76ers Now, 847. Can we get more likes on this video and take down the Knicks as well as the Boston Celtics? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Right onto that thumbs up icon. As for the New York Knicks, let's start there. How does Philadelphia compete with New York after losing to the Knicks in the first round in that series, which featured everything, was very intense, was very entertaining, and I thought throughout the duration of the entire NBA playoffs was the best playoff series. It had an NBA Finals feel. It really did. 2 great fan bases, 2 intense fan bases, the atmosphere at the Wells Fargo Center, Madison Square Garden, it was awesome. And then every single game came down to the wire. And I want to show this quote from Stephen A. Smith, who is a diehard Knicks fan. This is what he had to say. If Joel Embiid is healthy, there's no excuses. Embiid on one leg averaged 35 against the Knicks. We know how big time Embiid is. We know that Tyrese Maxey is special. Brother got a $204 million extension. Brother got a $204 million extension. If Paul George is what Paul George is supposed to be, Maxey, Embiid, PG, as much as I love my Knicks, orange and blue skies, baby. They don't come before Philly and Boston. We know Boston's on another level. They the champions. They the reigning defending champions. And we'll see what happens with them. But Embiid with Maxey and Paul George, yes, I believe in that. That's big. I know some people are concerned about how Joel Embiid fared in that Olympic ramp-up game for Team USA against Team Canada. He looked rusty. It's almost as if he hadn't played basketball in a really long time. I thought Embiid actually made a couple of really good transition passes, and I don't think he's going to be cooked overnight. The social media ridiculousness was wild. Dwight Powell putting the clamps on Joel Embiid. I still think he's going to be an elite player, just has to stay healthy. And I know the Knicks beat the Sixers, but imagine if the Sixers had Paul George. He's defending Jalen Brunson. He's making Jalen Brunson's job a lot more difficult, and he's another offensive option who would have been a wildly better upgrade than Tobias Harris, who crumble cookies probably better than Tobias Harris in that series. Outside of that Game 5, Skip Bayless on Paul George, not as high on PG as we are, and Stephen A. Smith. He's going to play the contrarian role. No, really? Paul George is just PG. Pretty good. He has no killer will. He won't make a big difference in Philadelphia. I think Skip, in saying that, is delusional. If he thinks upgrading from Tobias Harris to Paul George is not going to make a difference. The shot making, the shot creation, the efficiency, the defensive impact, it makes Philadelphia so much better than what they were in that first round series against the Knicks. As for the lineups and the starting lineups for both teams, you have Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. That's our best crack at what the Sixers starting 5 will be. The Knicks, I still think they have a vacant hole at that center spot, and it was a center position that Joel Embiid dominated on one leg, like Stephen A. Smith said. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, really good top 3. I think Julius Randle is an awful playoff player, and Mitchell Robinson, a good big, but I don't think that he can stick with Joel Embiid for an entire playoff series if Embiid is healthy. The depth pieces for both teams, this is where I think the Knicks do have the edge. Deuce McBride, he's made some strides. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, really good players. The Villanova Knicks. Keita Bates Diop, and then Jericho Sims. For the Sixers, still moves to be made here to round out that rotation. Jared McCain, Eric Gordon, Ricky Council IV, Adem Bona, and Andre Drummond. So the big question from myself and Chip, is Philly better than New York? I need to see it on the floor. I think talent-wise, Philadelphia is better. But New York had something special brewing last year. But with how many minutes their core players played, can that duplicate that success this upcoming season?
Yeah, look, the Knicks just beat us. Give credit to them. They played phenomenally and obviously had a big offseason adding Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
But losing Isaiah Hartenstein is a big deal. A very, very big deal. What he did for them, rebounding-wise, energy-wise, defensively, offensively, with that annoying little push shot about a few feet out from the rim. I mean, he was tremendous. He really was. And if they don't make another addition, those rumors are looking to trade for Walker Kessler. They're going to be in the market for another center because you can't trust Mitchell Robinson. I truly think if both teams are at their best, as currently constructed, the Sixers are a more talented team. If Paul George can play to his best of his ability, if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, again, big if, and we see a step from Tyrese Maxey, I truly think that they can beat the Knicks in a playoff series. It just comes down to health for both teams.
Yep.
What do the final rosters look like? I'm sure the rosters will change up at the deadline, but as of right now, I like Philly's chances against the Knicks. I think they have more star power. They have more offensive firepower. And I like Nurse over Thibodeau as well. So we'll see what happens come playoff time, of course. But I think the Sixers absolutely can hang with the New York Knicks.
Coming up next, can the Sixers hang with the Boston Celtics, who Philadelphia has not beat in a playoff series since the mid-1980s? Jared McCain jerseys are available. I think he made a good choice in wearing the number 20. Chatsports.com/McCain. You can get yours today. There are also other Sixers jerseys available if you use that link, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. The aforementioned question: can Philly compete with the defending champs? I think Philadelphia can compete with the Boston Celtics. But furthermore, can they beat the Boston Celtics? What's interesting is that a lot of people have said Sixers are so small, they need a power forward. They're not really that much smaller than the Boston Celtics when you compare their starting lineups. Tyrese Maxey is 6'2", Drew Holiday 6'4", Derek White is 6'4", but Kelly Oubre is what, 6'6", 6'7"? Paul George, Caleb Martin are bigger wings. So Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they play the wing spot as well. There is some chatter that Jason Tatum has grown. There were some photos of him standing next to Bam Adebayo, who is supposed to be and is a center, and Jason Tatum looked to be taller than Bam Adebayo. And then you have Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford with Joel Embiid. That's pretty much a wash. So Philadelphia is not that much smaller than Boston. Where Boston, I think, has the edge, though, certainly defense. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are all NBA defenders. And how they match up with Philadelphia defensively, I think, is a little bit of a concern. It would come down to elite shot making for the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey would have to have limitless range. Paul George is going to have to hit contested shots. And the big fella, Joel Embiid, is going to have to do his thing. And he has struggled historically against Al Horford. And Kristaps Porzingis could tire Embiid by getting him out to the three-point arc, and that's a little bit of a concern. And then the Celtics' depth pieces here, Peyton Pritchard, Jaden Springer, Sam Hauser, Xavier Tillman, Luke Cornett, what they have over the Sixers here, I'm not going to say they have like wildly more talent, but a lot more continuity and a lot more familiarity. A lot of these players have been together for a long time. Pritchard, Hauser, Cornett, they are byproducts of the Celtics player development program. And we know the Sixers' history against the Celtics. I hate Boston more than any professional team in sports. This is the best team that they've had in recent years. I know they could be without KP to start the year, but they're still going to be really damn good. Chip, I hate to say this, I don't think the Sixers are better than the Celtics.
Yeah, look, at this moment in time, the Celtics are just the most talented team in the NBA. They're champions for a reason. It was relatively easy for them throughout the entire playoff run. They just have a lot of really, really good players, and they're going to for a couple of years. The only way I can really see the Sixers beating the Celtics in a 7-game series, assuming both teams are healthy, is, as you said, Chase, elite shot making across the board. Because we know the Celtics, regardless of if their offense is always on or not, because they're very three-point dependent, their defense is always going to be there. It just is. So it's going to take elite shot making, and I think Embiid's going to have that series where he stakes his claim as the best player in the world. And if he doesn't play like that, and if he can't stay healthy, I don't really think it matters much what Tyrese Maxey does, what Paul George does, because the Celtics just have too much talent. Their starting five is historic. Honestly, they put up historic numbers on the offensive side of the ball this year. So, am I going to say they have no chance? It's going to be very, very tough. The Celtics are just so talented and so many different skill sets and just perfectly constructed for today's NBA. You got to hope they're missing their threes. So it's going to take a lot.
Yeah.
But if everybody in the Sixers is playing at their peak, I think they got a chance. But again, going to need everybody across the board to play absolutely out of their minds to beat Boston.
It's really just what it comes down to. Another thing that Boston has, they've had Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum together for a long time. Al Horford has been on that team for a long time. Derek White at this point has been on that team for a few seasons. You have Drew Holiday going into year 2. That continuity, I thought, really showed throughout this playoff run where they were a dominant team. Some people are trying to take credit away from Boston for winning the championship, saying, it's a Mickey Mouse title. They were literally the best team in the NBA from game 1 through game 82, and then all throughout the playoffs. What they did, got to tip your cap. Got to tip your cap. Best team in the East. Is it Philadelphia, type P? Is it Boston, type B? Is it New York, type NY? Let us know. Mailbag going to round things out. 240 people watching live. 1 like away from 100. Who's going to get us there? Who's going to get us there? KZ said, you're wrong, though, Chipper. Sixers supporting cast up to par with Boston, especially with Drummond as Embiid's backup. They can be a top contender even with Embiid out. We're talking about them being a top contender for sure. But can they beat Boston? I don't think so.
There's no doubt in my mind they're a top 3 team in the East. Even in the regular season, if Embiid misses some games, I think they have enough talent to win games.
Which is why it was important to bring Drummond in.
Yeah, and be a top 3 seed. But if you're going to want to beat Boston, you need your entire team healthy. If you don't have Embiid, you have no chance of beating Boston.
Lewis, Philly, Ryan, Boston, Charlie, Philly, Ryan, Philly, Shawana Rivers, welcome back. P, if Embiid is healthy for Philly. Jim Garcia, Boston, but the Sixers are getting close. That's what we can ask for. Clive Johnson, of course it's Philly. Greg Miller, Chat Sports, greater sign, ESPN. Greg. See, nothing backs that up more than day 1, night 1 of NBA free agency. When we go live for 10 hours, ESPN goes live for an hour. They don't even go live on their YouTube channel. Frauds. KZ, Embiid has got to be the guy to get us over the hump, no doubt.
Yep.
Yes, he does.
No doubt about it.
And if he doesn't, his legacy will continue to be tainted.
I will say, it is very hard to win back-to-back championships in the NBA. We haven't seen that since what? The Warriors, yeah.
Leo, ESPN sucks. Chat Sports better. Leo. Appreciate it, brother. Ryan Cooper getting that hashtag 76ers in. Great timing. because we're about to embark on our mailbag. Chip, if you ever want to do 2-screen or 2-cam, let me know. Just pop yourself up. I'll toss to you. So, mailbag to round out our live show. Segment number 3. About to get it going. Yeah. You got something that's brewing, just pop yourself up.
All right, let's see. How we doing here? $100 with a good question about free agency.
Cool.
Big Za asking about the Sixers in the standings. Luffy with a DFS question. T has a good question about KJ Martin. Bona from Clive Johnson. Pause. Ryan Cooper with some good analysis there. All right, I think we're good to go here.
Awesome.
Last chance to get yours in. Last chance to get it in. We're about to start this mailbag. If you want to send in a super chat, you're guaranteed to get on the show. Otherwise, I'll be the bad guy, and I'll determine what we're answering. But we should be able to get to all the questions here today.
All right, awesome. Mailbag coming up next. 76ers Now, segment number 3, live with all of our beautiful people on this beautiful Thursday, July 11th. Real One roll call. Thanks to the real ones for tuning in. Coming up on today's Philadelphia 76ers Now, we're going to open up the floor, take your questions, analysis, hot takes, and more right here on the show. Always enjoy chopping it up with all of the real ones who tune into the show. This mailbag coming from our live show, where you have questions, I have answers, but it's also an opportunity, as I said, for you to share your opinions, and I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend. I also want everybody to pat themselves on the back. You have helped Philadelphia 76ers Now have the best month stretch in the history of this channel, which I launched back during the summer of 2021, and that was when we were talking about Ben Simmons a lot. We've come a long way since then. And check out these numbers among all NBA channels at Chat Sports. The most subscribers picked up since July 1. We picked up the second most subscribers. We're 18 behind the lead, right? Or no, almost 100 behind the lead. I'm bad at math. Either way, we're closing in on overtaking Warriors today for the most subscribers picked up since the start of this month. So hit that subscribe button right now. Even when it's not hot out on the NBA streets, we still bring you excellent, elite Sixers coverage that you don't want to miss year-round. So hit that sub button. 100 G's getting us started. What do you think the 76ers are going to do to finish NBA free agency? It's a good question, Chip, because Philadelphia, as we know, is in a very tight financial situation. They really can't make any other moves outside of vet-min contracts unless they pull off that weird maneuvering where they sign KJ Martin to that massive deal and then they use him to trade him away in order to match salary. But who are some players, what are some moves that maybe come to mind if you're the Sixers here?
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at vet-min guys, so at that point it kind of depends on what area you want to go, what kind of skill set you want to go after. I'm still a big fan of bringing Kyle Lowry back.
Yep.
Now, we'll see. Jeff Dowden just had a very good summer league in Utah, so we'll see if maybe they like him more as a younger option. But I think you want the vet in there with Jared McCain, mentoring him, teaching him. I love the idea as well of bringing Marcus Morris back. I think, you have a couple open roster spots, fill some guys that have some continuity with the city and are from the city and know what the city is all about, know how your team plays. So if it was up to me, right now, I'd bring back Kyle Lowry on a minimum, bring back Marcus Morris on a minimum, and that's what I'd roll with heading into next season.
Like Lowry, like Morris, you could go Jay Crowder, who's still out there. You could go Luke Kennard, although I think you could get some more money from another team out there. But I like where the Sixers are positioned right now. Luffy, next up. Do you think Dorian Finney-Smith is still in play for us? We talked about this earlier this week where if Philadelphia were to give KJ Martin a bag and then use them as a trade chip for Dorian Finney-Smith, you could technically find a loophole in the NBA system to try to pull off that trade. It'll be difficult, And I don't think the Brooklyn Nets, as part of their rebuild, would want to take on the contract for KJ Martin. You could make it non-guaranteed after this upcoming season, add a player option on there. That is one way to get it done. It is somewhat unrealistic just because of where the Sixers are at with their money. But it would be a dream move for me. And that is the move I would like to see the Sixers make to address power forward. And then you're deeper at the wing because coming in off the bench would be Kelly Oubre, who could play the 2 or the wing, or Caleb Martin, who can play the 4 or the wing. Dorian Finney-Smith is just a player who I think can knock down the corner 3 at a really high clip, especially when he's on a good squad. He did that with Dallas. He's an excellent player. He's gritty. He's tough. He's physical. He can guard multiple positions. And I love the makeup and the skill set of Dorian Finney-Smith. Clive Johnson, Adem Bona, Summer League winner because he has Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond to learn from. Yeah, it's not a bad point. I mean, Joel Embiid is one of the most gifted bigs in the history of the NBA, the way that he moves and the arsenal of moves that he has. Don't say that he's a foul merchant when he's got the footwork of Hakeem. Sometimes he can overpower you physically like a Shaquille O'Neal. He'll hit you with the jab step, knock down the mid-range. He'll hit you with the spin move, throw down the dunk. He'll go step back, hit the mid-range or the 3. He could put the ball on the floor. I'd frankly like to see Embiid become more of a lob threat. I don't think the Sixers have really utilized that enough. And then Andre Drummond is one of the best rebounding bigs of this generation. I think Daryl Morey watches the show because Daryl Morey, well after I had said that, said, we're excited to bring Andre Drummond back, who's one of the best rebounders that the NBA has seen in recent memory. He really is. A knack for crashing the glass, has great instincts there. You put him on this team against the New York Knicks, imagine what he could have done in rebounding the basketball in that first round when the Sixers could not buy a rebound. And for Bona, he's got athleticism like Embiid. He's got a motor like Drummond. He can block shots in sky. He can be a lob threat. When he gets momentum going to the cup, he can be dangerous. He's raw. So yes, he can learn and he can develop under the tutelage of Embiid and Andre Drummond. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here if you want to get on our next mailbag. Just hit that sub button. Furthermore, hit that bell icon. Turn on those notifications if you're a true real one. Therefore, anytime we push out a show or go live, you will be notified. T, do you think it's better to pay KJ Martin to trade him and picks for a 4 during the season or just run switchable 2 through 4? I always think it's good to be switchable as a team and as a collective basketball unit in today's positionless NBA. But if you could trade KJ Martin for Dorian Finney-Smith, I do think it helps you vastly improve. Chip has talked about some of the financials as our version of Bobby Marks with the salary cap has a great understanding of that. Where do you kind of stand on that? And the realistic nature behind actually pulling that off. I just don't think that you can do it because I don't know if a team, whether they're rebuilding, they have money or not, wants to pay a bunch of money for KJ Martin.
Yeah, look, it's going to be very interesting. Whatever happens with KJ Martin, it's going to be happening. They're going to sign him now, and then he'll be traded at the deadline. So they're going to probably have some players that they have in mind, Daryl Morey will, that they want to trade for, such as a Dorian Finney-Smith. They'll look at how much money these players are making, and then try to sign KJ Martin for that, type of deal. I will say, though, what you can do with KJ Martin is give him a 2-year deal, but make that second year non-guaranteed. That way, whatever team you're trading him to, you can just cut him at the end of the year. No harm, no foul. And then you just give them a bunch of picks as well. So someone like a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Cam Johnson from Brooklyn, it's going to be a rebuilding team, someone who won't mind taking on that extra salary for one season to acquire some picks, send out a good player. So I think it is pretty realistic that a move gets made, again, at the trade deadline, not right now because there's these weird salary cap rules with KJ Martin's salary, so don't expect anything at this moment. But I will say, come the trade deadline, KJ Martin could be the Sixers' most important trade piece, which sounds crazy to say, but it's true.
Big Za, Sixers will finish with the 1st or 2nd seed. They certainly have the talent to do that. But let me go spin zone on you and make you think about something. If you're the Sixers, Paul George is coming off the healthiest season that he's had in a long time. You have Joel Embiid who's playing in the Olympics coming off the knee injury. What you need if you're Philadelphia to have a real chance of winning a title is for Embiid and Paul George to be healthy. With that being said, could we see the Sixers preserve their health knowing that they just want and need Embiid and Paul George to be healthy for April, May, and June. And if that's the case, do they sacrifice some wins and playing time during the regular season where both players play 55 to 60 games? If that happens, going to be harder to get that number 1 or 2 seed. And then you just put your eggs in the basket of, we have all this talent. If it comes down to a game 7, you got to win it on the road. We saw what happened during 2019 when Philadelphia got that number 1 seed. They lost in the second round to the Atlanta Hawks. Ideally, you want to have that game 7 at home against New York. You don't want to go to MSG. You don't want to have to go to TD Garden to play the Celtics. But think about it in that way. What do you side with? 1 or 2 seed in the regular season, or being healthy and fresh for a playoff run, in which Embiid has never been healthy for a playoff run? Certainly interesting. Ryan Cooper, their biggest advantages against Philly, Horford, Porzingis, because they take Embiid out of the paint on defense, which makes it easier for Tatum and Brown to get to the rim. And during that segment when we were stacking up Philly with Boston and New York, I did talk about that, and it's a great point, right? If Porzingis were to play in the Eastern Conference Finals, if Philadelphia were to advance, I would have been interested to see what that matchup would have been. Or in fact, yeah, it would have been Eastern Conference Finals, right? Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals. If they played against one another, because the Knicks moved on to play the Pacers. But if they were to have matched up in the playoffs and Porzingis was healthy, I agree. You know, he has that ability to take it out to the three-point arc. Embiid can get tired and gassed in trying to get out there. And then you take Embiid, great rim protector, away from the paint, away from the rim, opens up driving lanes for everybody else on that Celtics team. So that is a matchup. If these two teams play in the playoffs next year, obviously we could take a look at that matchup in the regular season if both bigs are healthy to watch out for. KZ, do you think Embiid has taken a playbook from his old pal Ben Simmons by fouling out in the Olympics to preserve his health? Of note, for those not familiar, international play, 5 fouls, not 6 fouls at the NBA level for you to get fouled out. Look, I think Embiid is just trying to get into shape here, doesn't know the international rules. I thought he made some good plays. I do, and he got the start for Team USA. That's pretty awesome. Grade the Sixers offseason so far. A, B, C, D, or F. Sound off with what you think. Thank you so much for watching us here on 76ers Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are on the pursuit of 20,000 subscribers right here on the show. Okay, about to sign off. So if you have any last words, let us know down in the comment section. We'll give you some shouts.
Good show.
Is Marcus Smart available? He's pricey. Would have to trade for him. The problem with Philadelphia, on top of not having a lot of money, they don't have trade chips.
Yeah, they just don't have a lot of assets, player assets to trade. They have picks, but again, that's why we're talking about KJ Martin, because think about it, come deadline, because you're paying Paul George, Embiid, and Maxey so much money, you're obviously not trading any of those three. So after that, it's like, who are you trading? Like, I don't think you trade Kelly Oubre or Caleb Martin in his first year with the team. So it's like you're pretty much packaging KJ Martin with minimum deals.
Right.
That's really it.
Like what Jim said too. Would love to see him then beat Boston. That would be iconic. Double D giving us the deuces. Luffy wanted to say thanks for the signed Brandon Graham jersey. Did you win our Eagles Now giveaway Super Chat MVP award this past year? Did you change your name? Love what the Sixers and Daryl Morey are doing from Greg Miller. Me too. Most excited I've been and most intrigued I've been about a Sixers season in quite some time. What else do we got? 5 roster spots from Jay of the Jungle. Looks like Lowry, Dalton, KJ Martin, Marcus Morris, Lonnie Walker. Not bad. Not bad. All right, we're going to dip on out of here. Be on the lookout for content over the next few days. Some great content coming your way on 76ers Now. Thanks for tuning in. Another successful live show. Oh, Luffy said, I don't think so. It was with Josh and the Philly special show. Gotcha. Well, congrats on the Brandon Graham jersey. Clive Johnson, we'll see ya. For Chip, I'm Chase. We out. Peace.